Okay, great. Welcome everybody to our team call, Training and Inspiration tonight. And you can probably hear my little baby squealing a little bit here. I am nursing while we talk because that is real life. That's how we work our business. We fit it into the nooks and crannies of our day. And Jessica has her two kiddos at home by herself tonight, and she's making it work as well. Jessica and Emily and I got to meet and know each other a little bit better on Musha Key. And it was such a blessing. I got to share a house with she and her husband. She is incredible and so inspirational, such an amazing example of mindset, of working her business intentionally, being successful, and just loving people, I can tell. So I'm really excited to learn from you tonight, and I know everybody else is as well. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to you, let you tell us your story, because I know a lot of people on here actually don't know you at all. So if you could start with your story and then just go from there, that'd be awesome.
Hey guys. Yes, I actually was going to talk all about Musha Key and how I got to know them better that way. It was the best trip ever. But okay, let me tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'm going to dive into my favorite topic, which is leadership and self-awareness. Ooh, you may not have thought I'd be talking about that, but that is foundational to my success in this business. So, okay, I started in, goodness, what year? 14? Anyways, I started because I saw my friend Tamara Holloway, my sponsor now, post about a picture of her Lexus and kind of going, which one should I choose? And at the time, I definitely had sworn off network marketing, said I would never do that, made fun of my friends that did. I was mean. I mean, a lot of us were. But financially, my husband had a great job, but we were only paying minimums on bills. And he was on the road 2 and 3 weeks out of the month. So I was a single mom. I felt like a single mom. And so I was Googling, I literally Googled for months ways to make money from home. I was looking about being like a secret shopper. I was looking at other network marketing companies, taking surveys where you made 50 cents for every 15-minute survey, or something ridiculously not worth your time. But I was desperate to find something where I could still stay home with my son, our son. And so Plexus came along, and when Tamara got her Lexus, I was like, wait a second. And I looked and saw how much she was making, and I was like, no way. How in the world does this work? It was I called her. I hadn't talked to her in a long time. We had met at a church group years ago, moms of toddlers. And I was like, Tamara, what in the world? How can this work for only $35? And I was just straight up. I was like, how much do you make? Which can be kind of rude to ask in normal jobs, but I needed to know. And so at that time, she was a new Emerald, and she was making almost $10,000 a month, in which my jaw was literally like, what? Okay, 2 different things. I knew she wasn't lying to me, I trusted her, but I literally could not fathom that. Okay, because my husband had a great job, great industry, gas and oil industry. He was not making near that much money. So how in the world was she doing this from Facebook? Okay, so that led me to lots of exploring, finding out that this was not a weight loss company. This was a gut health company, and this was something that could affect and help every single person, every gender, every age. And this introvert over here, which I'm going to be on fire tonight because I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, but usually I'm very much an introvert. I could do this because it was over social media. I did not have to ask anybody to parties that I hated to go to. And so I told my husband, let's do it. And he was like, no way. So my husband definitely was not on board. I did not listen. I signed up anyways, and kind of the rest is history. But it took him 6 months until I matched his income for him to really come on board. He still had a lot of pride he had to work through, just because this is network marketing. It's different than what we were taught to what's a good old job, working 9 to 5 and making us, So anyways, okay, that's enough about that. It's a little bit about my story, but I don't want to talk about that. So if you have a skeptical husband, I understand. The only way to win over a skeptical husband, I agree, and Carrie Wilkerson taught us this last year. If your spouse gets enough sex, gets enough food, and you show them the money from your paycheck, they will be on board. And so those 3 things, you got to take care of those 3 things, and your husband will like Plexus a whole lot more. So, okay, let's go on. Okay, leadership starts with self-awareness. Okay, this girl, Christy Jack, she's cracking me up. She keeps laughing at my jokes. I like you. Okay. leadership starts with self-awareness. Many of you may think, what, leadership? I thought this was only about adding new ambassadors and only about rising up the ranks. Let me tell you what has been foundational to me and my business since day one. What I have instilled, what I have taught, what I have modeled, and what I had made a priority to my team from day one, and that is leadership. Okay, we don't want a bunch of followers. You have a bunch of followers, like there's basic principles John Maxwell teaches, or it's just basic math. Okay, for example, you could sign up 30 followers. You could set up 30 level ones that are only for wholesale, or you could sign up a Jessica Hefley who becomes a diamond. Okay, you want leaders. Leaders multiply. Leaders know how to rise up other leaders. Leaders take care of themselves. Leaders, they're the big fish, the ones you want to go after, the ones you want to instill in. But that has to start with you, and it has to start with your self-awareness. So what do I mean by self-awareness? Well, first of all, maybe this analogy will help a little bit. Okay, so a lot of us, I went to college for 4 years, 4+ years. Anybody else go to college, have a college degree? Okay, so in college, you guys, think about it this way. When I first heard this was so eye-opening to me. Okay, you go to college for at least 4 years, right? For 4 years, you entrench. Is that the right word? Entrench yourself with information on one topic, okay? You go to classes, you go to lectures, you go to tests, you have hands-on internships, you have to read books. 4 years, you learn about a topic or a trade, and when you graduate, you are left, I'm not telling you not to go to college, that's not what this is about. You graduate and you leave with probably a whole lot of student loans and an entry-level position where you're making maybe around $30,000 a year, okay? But for 4 years, we have to study before they even can start to make money, okay? When you start Plexus, a big mistake I see people making is they're not learners. Leaders are learners. Leaders are learners. Hashtag it, leaders are learners. They think they can jump in, well, they don't have to learn everything before they start. That's not what I'm saying. But they think that they don't ever have to learn anything new or learn from somebody else or learn about themselves. And that is so epically wrong. With Plexus, we don't have to spend 4 years learning before we start, but we sure as heck better make learning a priority. Learning about ourselves, learning about others. Y'all, like, think about that. College for 4 years, and then we've got some people that won't read a book. They start Plexus and they refuse to read one book. I honestly can't help people that won't read a book. So I have had my team read books from day one. They've got to be learning about themselves and learning about others. Okay, so I want to share how self-awareness and what else I mean by self-awareness has basically some mistakes that I made and how I was able to correct that and do better from my own self-awareness. Okay, so what I mean by self-awareness, I'm saying things like being in tune with who you are, why you tick. For example, one easy way, there's so many different ways to do this, but one easy way we talk a lot about in this business is the 4-color personalities. Okay, I don't want to box everybody in, but that definitely is a good place to start. The red, yellow, green, and blue. Is your team fairly familiar? Should I recap those real quick? I'll just recap them real quick. But I hope that you're familiar. If you're not, please make that a priority. Okay, reds. I'm a red, and they're pretty driven. Their leadership comes more naturally to them. They want to succeed. Finances are usually, this is not everybody, but finances are usually important to them. They're self-starters, self-motivators. Okay, red. Yellows, they love to help people, love to love on people. Talking about money is usually uncomfortable for them. They just genuinely want to help others. They need to feel important. They just love to think of the word help, and you're going to think of a yellow. Greens love information, facts, science, data. It's very hard to motivate a green. Their motivation has to come from within. Blues, they love to have fun, have a good time, want to be like wherever there's a party, that's where they want to be. So Emily's a big blue. She loves to have fun, and they'll talk to anybody. And so each color has definitely beautiful gifts and beautiful weaknesses. So one of my biggest mistakes I made is I was a red, okay, right? So I was very driven. Nobody had to tell me what to do. Nobody had to hold my hand. I just did it. Like I just went and did it. And these are the things I did to do to get there, okay? So my first year, I had to learn the hard way through some serious conflict with some family members on my team and some close friends who I was legitimately scaring them. I was demotivating them. I was expecting them to be like me. I was saying, this is what I did to be successful, so go do that. Okay, being successful is not cookie cutter. Okay, so I unknowingly was pushing people away because people that were not strong reds wanted nothing to do with me. They thought I was too intense. They thought that I didn't rest very much, and they easily got overwhelmed, and so they could never do all the things that I did to be successful. So through some hard conversations, I had to learn how other people tick. First of all, I had to first learn how I tick. So learn really, really learn you. Another strong way that I've really been encouraging my team lately is the Enneagram test. It's ENNEAGRAM. Beautiful personality test, and it has, thank you, Emily, typed it up at the bottom for you, 1 through 9. But why I loved this, because it's a little more detailed than just boxing people into the 4 colors. But the 4 colors are great to give you kind of an overview. But the Enneagram test will show you why people think the way they think, why they act the way they act, how they view the world, how they operate when they're in a really healthy emotional state, and how they operate when they're in a really stressed state. Anyways, it's been invaluable for me to truly, truly learn me. First of all, I'm a 1 on the Enneagram. When you read your full description, there's going to be lots of parts about it that you don't like. But here's leadership is hard. If this was easy, everybody would do it. So when we're learning about ourselves, we're going to find some things about ourselves that we're not proud of, or we may be ashamed of, or that may not be the one we want to put on our Facebook profile about the bad things about our personality or how we function. However, we can't ignore that stuff. We have to go deeper. So read it all. Read the good and the bad about yourself. Learn how you come across to other people. Learn how you are perceived. And then go learn how your leaders, your spouse, your best friends, how they function. Because it is instantly going to help you be able to relate and connect to people better. Because what is this business? It is a people business. If you are turning people off, if people don't like you, then you're not going to go far in this business. We have to learn. Another great book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. We just have to always be learning how to relate to people, connect to people, make other people feel special, not turn them off or consider them less than us just because they are different than us. Okay? So that's one big thing I wanted to cover. So that was a big mistake I made. I was expecting everybody to be red, everybody to work their business the way that I was working my business, and they weren't. And so I had to, as a red, and whatever color you are, please desperately learn how to connect with the other colors, how to motivate them, how to know what overwhelms them, what drives them. Learning those things is not cookie cutter. It's a lot of work to learn everybody's personalities and how they function and how they tick, but this will hugely help you in your influence over your team. If you can, it's kind of like love languages too. If you can speak their love language, so a simple example on this team is some people's love language may be words of affirmation, but you just keep getting them gifts and gifts and gifts and gifts. And they're like, thanks for the gifts. I just want you to tell me that I'm doing a good job, or I want you to publicly praise me, or whatever, whatever yours is. That those aren't mine, but or vice versa. And so learning how to, because sometimes also in this business we think, I'm helping my team all the time, I'm praising them all the time, and they may want a gift from you, or they may want some time with you on the phone instead. They may want some quality time. And so just learning, again, what you need, what your love languages are, and then what your leader's love languages are, okay? This is going to help you become a better leader. Another mistake I made is Me and my husband are huge counseling advocates. My husband was a licensed therapist. We personally, in our marriage, have been through extensive counseling years ago. And then again here recently, because I think every single person ever should go to counseling. Every single person ever. It's not weird. Make counseling cool. Everybody needs to help. It's just another self-discovery tool. I feel like if you find a good Christian counselor, it's just a tool that God can use to someone that's a trained professional just to help you deal with some feelings. This business brings up a lot. Okay. Like it brings up rejection. Anybody ever been told no in this business? Okay, if you have a newbie and for example, you have a newbie and their uncle is like, you're in a scam, you're in a pyramid scheme. That new person may quit, just immediately quit because they don't know yet. They don't have that strength yet. No one's told them yet that that rejection is part of this, that their crazy uncle who hasn't been successful in anything in his life does not know what he's talking about and needs to stop reading blogs that are lying. You know what I mean? Okay, so this brings up rejection. This brings up friendship dynamics. Being in charge of people brings up issues. What other issues does this bring up? I mean, so many things. Change. For me, a poverty mindset. I did not grow up with money. Like very lower middle class. And so even being okay and open to making a large income that makes some people uncomfortable, my family, that doesn't make a large income, that makes them very uncomfortable. And there's some other people that will become very judgmental, like so many issues. Okay. So go work those out. No shame in your game. Tell other people you're doing it too, because that will make it, it's like my life's mission to make counseling cool, because most people just think it's scary, or they think only people on the brink of divorce or only people that are about to go commit suicide go to counseling. No, the deal is every single one of you should go to counseling so it doesn't get to that point in your life. So there you have that. Okay. Another topic I wanted to talk to you guys about. Other ways to be a better leader this is what I've been having my team do here recently, and this has been invaluable. You've probably heard this before. This is an eyelash. I don't know why I'm playing with that. More is caught rather than taught. Okay, have you heard that before? Okay, you probably heard that before. Write it down because I want you to think about it for a second. More is caught rather than taught. So for my teams, I've got some legs that have not made personal growth a priority. They personally have not, and therefore their team has not. And so they may have a team full of drama, or a team full of weak sauce, or a team full of non-learners. They just want to quit very easily all the time because they haven't made personal growth a priority. Okay, so if for that leader to turn the tables around, they have to make leadership a priority and personal growth a priority. But however, there's two ways there's one way that'll work and one way that won't work. You can say, hey team, read this book. Hey team, go be a part of my book study. Guess what? Nobody's going to join your book study. And nobody's going to want to read your book. Or you could say, an example of one of the most life-changing books that team has done. Hold on, let me grab it. Instead, you could have read this book, which our team has, and you could make a video. You could say, oh my word, team, let me tell you what I learned. Let me tell you how this chapter wrecked me, and how I used to think this way and I was so wrong, and now I'm thinking this way. And if you've read this book, like how affirmation systems of support, I don't know if you've read this book, so I can't really explain it. The point of it is more is caught rather than taught. You tell your team how your life has personally been changed. You tell your team something you've personally learned, then they are going to be more likely to join in. Rather than just telling somebody, show somebody. Make it a priority. More is caught rather than taught. Also, team, consistency builds credibility. So, for example, when we had our entire team doing this book study, I didn't post about it one time. I posted about it about 30 times. And I would share a quote from it, share a picture from it, share a testimony from it, share a story about it, share another quote about it, put another picture up, do a selfie. I repeat. Our teams, they're not as in it, as invested as we are. You guys are on this call. You made a commitment, a time commitment. A lot of you guys in the middle of your day. Okay. They're not going to read everything you post on your team page. They're just not. So repeat. What is a priority of the leader will become a priority to the team. I say that so often. And that's just with anything. If it's a priority for you to add new ambassadors, then make sure your team knows that you're adding ambassadors, and make sure your team, here's another thing that I did wrong. This book talks about how, the first part of this book anyways, how so many people just need a hammer, right? They need to hammer a nail into a wall. That is what they need to do, okay? I kept giving them chainsaws. Here, have a chainsaw. They're like, what? I have a nail. Help me get this into the wall. Why are you giving me a chainsaw? I'm like, oh, that chainsaw doesn't work. Here, let me give you a yellow chainsaw. That doesn't work. It's not the right tool. Here, let me give you a shiny chainsaw. Surely this one will work. No, they don't need a dang chainsaw. They need a hammer. Okay? And so in this book, it talks about there's 3%ers that are just successful. They just do it. I know for like Brooke Hemingway, she is a 3%er. I know that. She just does it. She's gifted in this. It comes very natural for her in this. However, so this probably, Brooke, you probably dealt with this. I have too. It was hard for me to teach other people how to be successful because it came so naturally to me. However, 97% of your team needs step-by-step instructions, need you to repeat, need you to be consistent. One simple thing that we've started to incorporate on our team, if a leader doesn't feel like they have much influence over their team, I start to tell them every single day, hashtag and share with your team what I did today. Your team needs to see what you did to work your business. We forget that we know what to do. Y'all know what to do to work your business, but your teams don't. So they need ideas. They need to see your example. They need to see it repeated. They need to be reminded of things. All of those things will help you be successful and help your teams be successful. So there you go.
I feel like that's so true. Like they need to see what they need to do. They need to see what they need to say. And I feel like a lot of times in our trainings, guys, we do these 10-day trainings and we give all these messaging examples and all of these examples of how to communicate with people. And sometimes it might seem like a lot, but I always try to remember how I knew nothing when I started. And so if you can always remember what it would be like to be a baby and just like learning how to talk or learning how to speak, like that is really what this business is to a lot of people. And that's why so many people are scared, because they don't understand what a separate group is, or they don't understand how to tag somebody, or they don't understand where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to say. Like it's all overwhelming. So if you can strip it back and remember the basics. And I loved how you said repeat, because I know sometimes as leaders, whether you have 5 people under you, 10 people under you, or 8,000 people under you, like you feel like, well, I've already said that before. I've already told them that. Like, why do I need to tell them again?
Yeah.
But like Jessica said, they've got to hear it again, right?
Yeah. And y'all need a team. Like I don't know Brooke and Emily extremely well, but I know that they are very different. But that is beautiful in the fact that they have different gifts to bring. You definitely need like someone who, I don't know, Brooke, you're very red, green. I'm very red, green too. You need somebody if you're very red or green out there, you need somebody fun. You need somebody connecting. You need some people loving on people. You need somebody who's going to take their time a little bit. I know us reds are very efficient and very fast, but sometimes we need to slow down. And so that's the beauty of humans. That's the beauty of a team. That's the beauty of a body, is that we all need each other in different parts to go together to make.
I so agree with that, and that's been one of the beautiful things for Emily and I, is because we are very different, but we complement each other, and all the track. That's really the best the best way to have it. You know, so you've been in the business for about, what would we say, like 3.5 years then?
Yeah.
About 3.5 years. I mean, what would you say has been one of your biggest struggles? Or, you know, for example, right now we're going through like a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a challenge, you know, new back office, but, you know, what would you say have been your best ways that you've got through challenging times, and what has maybe been one of your biggest challenges?
Yes, I think leaders always have to keep positivity high. I mean, you have to keep positivity high. For example, my team page and my personal page is a no negative zone. I have rules. Nobody is allowed to bully me on my team page or my personal page. And so if there is negativity, bullying, meanness, delete, and I don't even have to explain it because it's my page. And so anyways, so if I just don't allow negativity. It spreads like a disease. You know, even if it's like, oh, I understand, or message threads, and you're like, oh, this is awful, and like, oh yeah, you're right. It just spreads. We have to be so very careful with our headspace and our mindset and our positivity, because positivity wins. In the end, positivity wins. We can overcome anything. It's just like, and just when people are joining you too, again, people join you more than they join a company. So that's another reason why we always have to be working on ourselves personally. We have to be somebody that people want to join, somebody people want to be with. So I would just say that. I would say there's one more thing I forgot to say earlier about the mistake that I made about being red. I also recently, through counseling again, I started to realize, I went to counseling again because I started to realize I was getting angry a lot, and I didn't like that feeling. I couldn't understand why. And so through going back and doing some self-discovery, she pointed out that I was actually very codependent, which is actually an issue I see very common in this business. If you're not familiar with what codependency means, it just means like you try to fix things for everybody else, or you have to be the rescuer, or you care more about other people's feelings than you do yourself. And how that was playing out in my business was, and I thought I had some places in my business I had really healthy boundaries, and some I guess I didn't. But I don't do everything for my teams, and I have not from day one. I don't handhold. I take a hot minute to answer somebody's Facebook message, and so they'll go look for the answer themselves. I try to empower them, help them understand and see and develop their leadership skills very early on. Most people have never done a strengths test. They've never done StrengthsFinder 2.0. They don't know what they're good at. They just look at Brooke and Emily and they say, well, I'm not like them, so I'll never be successful. That's what my team is doing for me. They're like, I'm not like Jessica, so I'll never be as good enough, or I'll never be a good leader, or I'll never get to be a jewel. Well, we have to help people see what they are good at. We have to help people know their strengths very early on in the game, utilize those, capitalize on those. Now don't let them not do certain things just because it's not their personality, okay? Because that way you're going to have yellows and blues saying, well, I don't want to reach out to people. That seems ingenuine to me. And I just want to say, okay, that's not an excuse you're allowed to say. That's a fear, okay? There's differences. I also, as a leader, leaders are always nudging people a little bit further. They have to meet them where they are. You can't expect them to be you or be somebody else or do all these amazing, these things if that's going to overwhelm them at that time in their life. You have to meet them where they are, encourage them, but always nudge them. I have a big mantra in life, and it's do something scary every single day. And I have truly lived that out. If anything in my life comes up that I'm scared of, it's like this red flag. It's like this red flag to me where I'm like, oh, I'm scared of that. That means I have to do that. And so I've made that. Like some people think, well, all these things that are unrelated to Plexus you've done that are scary. No, they're very much related to my Plexus business. Me doing trapeze lessons and indoor skydiving, like all of those things, those are conquering a fear. So that means that next time when I come across something scary or somebody scary to talk to, I want to do it. I'm going to be less scared because I've done scary things before. So doing something scary every day, like one silly example is at Leaders Retreat, we were in there with the live band, and some people were going up on stage and dancing, and my friend Sunday, she like looked at me from stage. She was like, Jessica, come up on stage. And I was like, oh no, don't make eye contact with her. I do not want to go up on stage. I do not want to dance. And so I like purposely ignored her. She totally knew I was ignoring her. Okay. And then after that moment passed, I had this like, I didn't do that. I was scared of that, and I did not do that. And I was so full of regret, and so like it like ate at me. And so later on that night, the very last song, she did it again. And you know what? I went up on stage, and I conquered that fear, and nothing is going to stop me, because now I can voice message that dream teamer that I was scared of, that I was so scared to talk to. I do that because I do scary things. And you do scary things. Say it. Say, I do scary things. Say,
I do scary things.
I'm believing that you're all saying it out loud. I do scary things. So, anyways.
Do something that makes you scared every day, right? Do one thing that makes you scared every day. And I love that you talked a little bit about not doing everything for everyone and empowering yourself, because I had done a team call for a smaller team in my downline, and it was all about empowering yourself. And one of the ideas that we talked about was, checking 3 before you come to me. Before you go to your sponsor or your upline and you ask them a question, check 3 different sources, check 3 different places, try to find the answer yourself. Because when you do, you're going to feel so much more empowered. You're going to learn faster, and you're going to be a better leader. And then you're going to be able to teach your ambassadors to do the same thing, so you don't end up in this place where maybe you're kind of angry like Jessica was because you're doing too much for people instead of empowering people to do it for themselves. So maybe just one more question for you. What are maybe your favorite 3 to 5 books, like some of your very favorite books?
Well, this one for
sure. Because I know you've read so many, and you've got great, The Secret Code to Success.
The Secret Code of Success. We have done, our whole team has done that. Also, I have 7 level 1 jewels. All of their teams did this too. This book, you read it by yourself real quick. It may not change your life. It will if you implement it. But it is truly meant, to do in small groups or on a regular weekly Zoom or something where you guys can discuss, implement, transform. It's like I say, like church. A Sunday morning sermon probably is not going to change your life forever. But you around the dinner table with your friends or your life group discussing that Sunday sermon, discussing what you learned from it, what you gained from it, what you're going to change because of it, what you're going to implement, how you're going to hold each other accountable because of what you've learned or how you've changed. That is where life change happens. So this would be my number 1. The 4-color personalities of MLM was pretty invaluable. How to win friends and influence people. My favorite book on actually the skills of network marketing, because we need to learn about leadership and self-awareness, but we also need to learn how to do the things to be successful in network marketing, is Millionaire by Halftime by Presley Swaggerty. I would say those are the ones that we try to have our entire. I was a huge John Maxwell fan, and so the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth is a great one. I just went through and led all my jewels and senior rubies in this book, and now I'm going back through and doing it with some senior golds and golds. I think you kind of got to be ready for this. I wouldn't recommend this book.
I agree. I think 15 Laws is a great place to start if you're starting with John Maxwell, one of your first books to read. But it's funny because How to Win Friends and Influence People and Millionaire by Halftime were 2 of the first books I ever read. And I did it in a Journey 101 training that Amy and Stephanie did. And those helped me so much because I'm an introvert as well, and I'm a red. And so I had to learn how to pull back and listen to people and talk to people, because otherwise I was kind of like a steam engine, or I would get defensive. And I think that happens with a lot of us, especially when we get some pushback from people, instead of learning how to relate to them and listen to them, and eventually you end up bringing them around to your side. But some really valuable things that I learned from those books as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway, you're just amazing. We love you. We're so grateful for your wisdom and everything that you shared with us tonight. And I know you've got some babies to get back to, and I've got my little baby here that dropped a bomb for us right now.
Oh.
So I'm going to get back to mom life, but thank you so much for giving us this time. And I love the topic. I feel like it's applicable to silvers all the way up to diamonds. You don't have to.
The earlier you make it a priority from the beginning, y'all. Don't wait.
Yes,
Don't
absolutely.
wait.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jessica. We love you. Good night, guys.
Y'all are awesome. See you at convention.
Yep, see you there. Thanks.